Caring for the environment and the wildlife is something our next guest is passionate about. Global conservationist Sean Lee-Davies founded Project C Change over a decade ago. It's a social enterprise dedicated to raising awareness in Asia about environmental degradation, climate change, and conservation. We now talk to Sean all the way from London. Hi, Sean. Good morning here. Good evening there, I believe. Thanks for joining us. Now, it was way back in 2010 when you founded Project C Change. What are some of the environmental and wildlife problems and issues that you focused on? I mean, you've seen it all. You've traveled the world and really seen it firsthand. What are some of the really important things that we should be focusing on today?
Good morning, and thanks for having me on the show. Yes, I founded Project Sea Change over 10 years ago, and our main focus has been to raise awareness about biodiversity loss, in particular the illegal wildlife trade. In more recent years, we've been shifting our focus to help find solutions, and more particularly to help make the food system more sustainable, because what we eat is directly linked to the loss of biodiversity around the world, not just in the Philippines. And we want to help build communities that can thrive with more healthy soil, more healthy food, and more healthy people as a result. So right now we're seeing biodiversity right across the planet being reduced at alarming rates, from large marine mammals to terrestrial animals to coral reefs, particularly a problem in the Philippines. The reduction of mangrove swamps, the reduction of coral reefs in the Philippines, and it's happening at an alarming rate. So what can the everyday person do? And that's what we're trying to help find solutions to, because it's all very well saying these are the problems and we're all, in this boat together. But what are the actual definitive things that people can do on an everyday basis? People can eat less meat. And I'm not saying people have to give up meat, but they can eat less meat, because that directly contributes to the destruction of environments that support these beautiful animals that you're seeing on the screen right now. So it really breaks my heart to see these animals losing the environments where they thrive. And what we're trying to raise awareness about is that what you do every day, what you decide to eat, has an impact on the animals that you see on the screen. So going back to how we're helping change the food system, we're helping food startups, food tech startups, come up with new types of food, alternative proteins. For example, in Singapore, we helped launch the world's first cultivated meat. And what is that? That's meat, chicken, in fact, that's not from a dead chicken. It's grown from chicken cells. So what's the benefit of that? Well, one day you'll be able to have chicken, which didn't kill an animal. No one tree was cut down for it. No antibiotics were used. And no animals harmed in the process. So we believe that these solutions are on the horizon and will be available to the public in the near future.
Right, Sean, you have, like I said, traveled the world, you've seen it firsthand, and you've been very much aware of the various threats that we should be focusing on. Food security seems to be high on your list. You've just really, you've talked about how you and your network of conservationists are, environmentalists and conservationists are really focusing on that. Why do you think that should be top of our list?
As I mentioned, there are many things that we can try and do to be more sustainable, but what we eat is probably the easiest thing for us to control in terms of like what we decide to eat on an everyday basis. So it's hard for us to stop transporting ourselves in cars or public transport. That requires huge systemic change to electrify the transportation system, and that requires major government overhauls, but also big corporations to change that system. What you decide to eat is your choice, but we have to make sure that restaurants and F&B outlets provide us with that choice to eat healthily, but also to eat non-meat and non-dairy alternatives. And I don't think there's enough choice which is readily available for the public at the moment.
Right. Sean, what's the next step for Project Sea Change?
Well, one of the most depressing things about it all is that despite all the work that many charities have done to reduce, say, the shark's fin trade, to say reduce the killing of elephants for their ivory. It's not happening quick enough. So one thing I would say is that it's very hard to get bogged down by all the negative news, but great change is happening. We have to keep trying, and we have to move faster to implement more sustainable living and more sustainable food systems as a result.
Right. Okay, Sean, you are a filmmaker, an entrepreneur, an adventurer, society philanthropist. You are a regular Bruce Wayne, and we all, have a role to play here. We don't all have to be in the same position. You are certainly using your celebrity to focus our attention on this, but really we can all sort of pitch in and take our cue from people like you. Thank you so much, Sean, for joining us this morning here on New Day. It was a real pleasure.